What is going on, you guys? Bashtian here, and today I'm back with my boy Rob. It's been a while, Rob. How you been, man?
Been okay. I've not been dead, so that's pretty good, right?
There you go.
But
Always the positive.
but we've moved up though. We're not on our bed anymore, guys. We're at a desk. It's been that long.
Holy shit!
Yeah, we finally got a computer and we finally got a desk. My spellground's on the desk. I'm no longer on my bed doing videos for Sebastian's. It's a beautiful time.
Look at you, new computer, table.
Not my bed. That's the main thing.
Doing grown-up things, you know. Well, we're gonna be being back with another deck of the month. Like I said, it's been I think 6 months. I think last time we did one was in April or May.
Shameless plug. I work at a locals now that's actually running locals called Game Day Toys and Games. It's on Myrtle Avenue, 6073 Myrtle Avenue. If Sebastian's nice enough to leave some information down below. We're hosting
for sure.
locals. We're hosting locals about 2 to 3 times a week. It's been a little all over the place, but go check out the Instagram Game Day Toys and Games. And yeah, so if you see me playing, you might actually see some deck of the months in action. You know, because sometimes I'm playing, sometimes I'm judging. So you might get a heads up on me if you see me playing with some black sleeves.
So what you got for us today, then, Rob?
I have my first and true love, Salamangreat.
First love,
it's
really?
My first, because you know what it is? It's like, this is my first real love. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, I mainly wanted to try it out because I was able to get my hands on these cards, the crossout designators. And I felt like this deck didn't have to build awkwardly to include the card. Oh, I'm just doing slight camera and just apologies, guys, because I was hitting the camera as I was placing cards. So it didn't have to adjust its deck building too much to incorporate the crossout designator. And so the deck had a big problem before with Nibiru. There was little to no counterplay. You would just end on suboptimal boards to play around Nibiru, but instead you have Crossout now, which deals with Nibiru, and you kind of just don't have to feel that card. And then it also lets you play other cards like a Lady Debug again, which fix the deck's inconsistency it had before. And like I was testing it before without Crossouts, and there was just a lot of inconsistent hands because you can't play this card. But now with Crossout, I think the Lady Debug just gets a lot better. So I'm just gonna put that to the side and start the profile. So one Gazelle, it's like a virtual world monster. You can summon it, and whenever you summon, he flourishes a salad card. And then when a salad monster leaves the field, you get to summon him from your hand. So it's pretty much like the 2-card combo with this guy and this guy, where you normal summon a level 3. Pretty much, you make the link 1, you search the field spell, you summon this, you set either one of the traps. Then you summon your level 3, make Stallia, and you just do the full combo from there. Benny is you can discard if you control a salad card from your hand, target a monster, gain for 100. And then if you control a salad card, you summon him from your grave. Yeah, if you control a salad monster other than Spinny. So pretty much this is like an extender, it's a starter. It's really good with Flame Buffalo and Signet Mining, and it's really good in conjunction with Gazelle or Lady Debug. And then 2 Foxy. This is the one that if it's normal, you reveal the top 3 out of solid card, and then if it's in your grave and there's a phase of spell trap on the field, you can discard a Salamangreat card, summon it, and then you have the option to pop it. You can't use both effects in the same turn, but so pretty much against like Floodgate decks, this card's really good because you just discard a solid card, summon it back, deal with Floodgates since it's all one effect, and it's really good to like play into boards like that. Like Altergeist, this card's really good against because let's say they don't negate, they don't soak the summon, or if they like let it hit the grave, you just use this pop protocol, you pop Secret Village. If you play against Virtual World, it lets you get rid of Chuche. Like if you normal summon this, it deals with Chuche by its own, which is really cool. If you play against Drytron, if they randomly have Fafnir up, this card deals with that too. So this is like a really good extender. You don't want to play 3 because the deck already has a lot of normal summons. Like Spinny's a normal summon if you draw it, Foxy's a normal summon, Jack's a normal summon, Debug's a normal summon, and Buffalo's a normal summon.
Right.
But Buffalo mitigates like these cards being normal summons, which is why you don't mind it. Jack is, if it's in the grave, you get to target a salad monster, put it into the extra deck, and then summon this to his own as salad link in certain things too. So it's good for rank 4 plays. It's good to just like link climb, and it's really good to like attack because it does piercing. So if there's randomly a monster in defense, you just like do more damage. It doesn't come up too much, but it's there. It's good for their rank 4 play because it lets you make a Vis Dweller. And 1 Falco. This is the one that if it's in the grave, you target a salad monster, bounce it back to your hand, and then summon it from the grave. So it's another way to like loop Gazelles because you can like summon Gazelle, Falco, bounce it back, and then Wolf lets you add back another fire. But it's mainly because you needed another level 4 in the deck to make Dweller. because making the Mirage Stalio lets you make Abyss Dweller. So if I didn't want to play 1-1, because then if you draw either of them, you can't make Dweller. But if you draw both one of these, it's fine because you have the other Jack in your deck to make Abyss Dweller. Yeah. And that's it for the Salad monsters. And then for the Salad spells and traps, 2 will. This is the Soul Charge. This is it summons 1 from the grave or hand. Then has another effect that you can send it to the grave, and if you have a Salad monster that was used summoning its own name, so a lot of them have I'll explain the field spell, which pretty much says it makes your Salad links like 1 card, so you can just link them away from themselves. So if I have a link 1 Banelings, instead of using a low 4 low Cybers, I can just use another Banelings. Or instead of using 2+ effect monsters or 2 monsters including a fire, I get to just link off a wolf into a wolf. So if you control one of those monsters, it summons Salads from the grave in defense position up to the link rating. So when you have a link 2 wolf with that's usually using itself, you can use this, summon back 2 monsters, and then go for OTKs. Or you can just use this to summon back a random link monster to also just go for OTKs. But I wouldn't play 3 because this card gets very clunky at 3. Just drawing too many of it doesn't do anything, because if you're drawing multiples of these, you're not drawing Salad monsters, and that's no bueno. And then we already talked about the field spell. It's a brick, but it's a very good engine card because it lets you do all your 1 card plays.
Right.
And it makes a lot of your cards free. Then 1 Rhoda, Salamangreat Circle. This is literally just quick play, search a Salad monster, or make a Salamangreat link monster unaffected. That effect comes up very randomly, but it is mostly just the Rhoda. Then 1 Counter Trap, and then 1 of the Icarus attack. I wasn't playing Desires, so I didn't think you needed multiples of these. I think having 1 of each is fine, mainly because drawing them is pretty awkward, but you get to search these into your combo with Stalio anyway, so I think 1-1 is fine. This card's a lot better though, because popping 2 cards is harder to play around than 1 Omni Negate. You just okay, I know I have to play around the Omni Negate. But popping 2 cards with other cards in your hand too is really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then also popping back row. So if you play against the Trap Eldritch deck that sets 3 to 5, you just do this, pop 2, and then on your turn heat Leo 2, and then sometimes you make access go, so let's pop the last one. This card just lets you deal with someone.
You ever thought about playing 2 Rage instead?
I thought about it. In my last list that I was testing during the summer before Crossout, it was 2 of this and 1 this. Mm. But I wanted to make space for hand traps in the deck because of Crossout. So I just cut them down to 2 each. Because I also cut Desires. In that list, I was playing Desires. So since you're not playing Desires, you can just play 1-1, and you never have to worry about it. And then for more consistency, so instead of playing 3 of 1 and 0 of the other, I played 2 and 2. This is the one that if it leaves the field, you can chuck a Cyber Sponsor, draw 2, and then this is just straight Rhoda for Cyber Sponsors. So the reason I played 2 and 2 is because Crossout existing makes this card a lot better. Because this card, typically in Salamangreat history gets stopped, and then you're just I can't do anything. But now that you have pretty much 7 copies of Crossout, or 7 Call by the Graves, because 3 Crossout, 3 Triple T, and a Called by the Grave. So this card should almost always resolve, and then even if you draw this and 4 of the hand traps, you at least end on Abyss Dweller, Gazelle in hand, and the full board. So this card's really good for your consistency, but this card is just safer whenever you don't draw Crossout. So if you don't draw one of those 7 cards, this card's a lot safer than normal summon. But the other trade-off is this is better standalone. This needs at least another card to be good, because you need to draw it with another Cyber monster. This on its own is really bad, but this on its own is really good. And then I play 1 Sea Archiver, which is if you summon to a zone link monster points to, or if a monster summons to zone link monster points to, you just summon this card from your hand or grave. So this is good with this. It's good to search off this if you already open Spinny Gazelle, and then it's just a good Cyber 6 Thunder, because it also works with Splash Mage and Update. It also makes Update Jamming, Splash Mage, Transcode Talker. It makes all your Cybers plays, which this deck also has. It's also really good because you can, if you get this gets hand trap, and you Triple T draw 2. This is a good card to draw off Triple T because you can pitch it off mining and play, which is also something really good. And then 3 Signet Mining. This card's literally just chuck a card and search any of the last cards I've shown you. So this can get you to these if your hand you want to dig for side deck cards or hand traps. This if you need extenders, Gazelle if you need a starter, or Spinny. So yeah, this card does a lot in this deck. I would never play less than 3. I used to play 2 back in the day when Gazelle when Circle was at 3. But since Circle's at 1, you definitely need to play like 3. And then for the non-engine cards, 3 Ash, 2 Nibiru, 2 Veiler, 3 Impermanent. So these are just good in the format. Like these 5 are really good against Stripe Brigade because you know that you hit the normal summon, or if you hit like their Stripe Brigade monsters, like you don't have to deal with the Revolt, you don't have to deal with the Appaloosa. But this also deals with Appaloosa as the 6, or as like if you draw as a 6 card, which isn't that bad. Then these are also good against like Dragoon decks, and these are also good against Alistair decks. Because you know they normal summon Alistair, you hit this, and then if they summon a Mechaba, you can just like draw an Impermanence and deal with it. Yeah, it's really good into the Alistair deck as well, because you know normal summon Alistair, effect Veiler, and sometimes if they don't have Nadir Servant, they'll pass. Nibiru is for combo decks, but it's also really good for what's it called, Crossout, because this deck obviously loses to Nibiru, so you have 2 in your deck to just like, all right, you Nibiru me, chain Crossout, banish my own Nibiru, and don't have to deal with it. And then Ash is really good because it's a fire, and you can add it back off Wolf, and then it's a level 3 for more Stalia plays. So I think this hand drop ratio is fine. If anything, I might play Ghost Bell, because Ghost Bell can hit Revolt. But outside of that, I might not play Ghost Bell at all. I think this lineup is fine. 10 hand traps. You should always see one. No, I don't side Bell at all. I'll get to the side deck in a bit. Yeah, I don't side Bell at all. I think the only matchup you really want it is Stripe Brigade, but like they almost always have Appaloosa anyway, so the Bell doesn't really matter too much. You can't Bell the Alistair deck because they almost always have Meltdown up, and so the Meltdown you can't Bell Invocation, and you can't Bell Schism, and then it's not good into Virtual World, and it's very mediocre into Dragon Link. Like every time I play Bell, I'm always like, this is the most mediocre card in my hand. Like why? Like I don't want to play this card. So I always end up just cutting it from my list. And then the new card that made everyone go crazy: 3 Crossout Designator. This card, holy shit, this card is crazy. It makes you respect every hand trap, or makes them they have to respect every hand trap, or like hand trap you in weird ways, because you could play around every hand trap now. Like it makes cards like Imperm and Nibiru that had no counterplay before, or little to no counterplay before, really like you have to like think twice about just like dropping these cards. But what's also cool is it hits other cards like Twin Twister, because you can it doesn't just banish hand traps, you can banish any card. So like let's say you're playing let's say you like game 2 and 3, like you're scared they're gonna Twin Twister you, so you just like deactivate Twin, instead of using Rory, you just chain those, banish Twin Twister, and then they just -2 themselves. Like it's really good in those scenarios. But it's mainly because this deck can play with 1 to 2 cards, so having one of these 3 or one of these 3 in their hand, you just make it so like you can always play. Because like if anything is hand trapped, you'll either have one of these 2. So you can either just draw 2, or you can rip a card if you have extenders, or you can just Nobleman and like, just stop it outright. So yeah, this card's definitely gonna be crazy this format, and it also makes their decks a little bit weirder because of the amount of hand traps, or the way they have to play hand traps. So there's a lot of 2-ups. So like there's 2-up hand traps, so that means technically certain hand traps they'll see a third less of the time, which is kind of nice. If you can, like, those cards relatively like budget now, it's like $40 right now. I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, but I played kind of like low rarity stuff, just to show this deck is actually relatively budget, except for this card and like 1 card in the extra deck.
Except but like, the 6 cards that are currently there.
Except for these 3 and this card. This is the only like crazy. Like those are the only like 3.
Isn't Kotoga like $170 right now?
Yeah, it's crazy right now. But like but like if you look at it, everything else in this deck is relatively budget. Or like there's a budget like version of it, and I just don't have it in there. Oh, and then the one called by the grave, because you know, it was funny. There was a locals I played with this deck, and I was like, damn, I was getting hand trapped a lot. Then I realized after the locals, I wasn't playing this card, and I was like, wait, what the hell? This card is just called by the grave. It's crazy. It's pretty much your 4th copy of Nobleman to play around like Ash, Veiler, Bell. But like, and then you have Nobleman to deal with like Impermanent Nibiru, and then tactics. If they do any of those, you just draw 2 cards. Like all in all, like this, like I think this ratio is fine. That's the main deck. I believe it's 41, but let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Oh, it's a 40 card deck. That's new.
That's weird.
What the hell? Yo, pretend I put a second rage in there. What the hell?
Yo,
Rob playing 40 cards. Yo, Rob playing 40 cards? That never happens. That actually makes me yeah, you know, I'm putting a second rage in just because. I'll do that after. For the extra deck, I play the standard 8 or standard 9. So 3 Balinks is your 1 card starter. This is like the Meow Meow. It pretty much searches the field spell on activation. Then it unsummoned, and then it you can banish it from the grave to protect your Salad cards from being destroyed. So it's really good to like protect your boards from like them just like beating over stuff. And it's a good starter. Like the way I compare it to Meow Meow is like if you're Meow Meow, it lets like you full combo Prinkets, right? And then the next turn, and then they break your board. Like let's say they I don't know, summon the Drytron guy that attacks like 17 times, or like summon an Ultimate Conductor. Like they destroy all your monsters. You can draw any Trinket off the top before when Meow Meow was at like multiple copies, and be able to play. So this card is very similar because you can link off any Salad, and it lets you go for link 2s, or it lets you trigger cards like Buffalo, or it lets you trigger cards like Gazelle, or it puts cards in the grave for like Spinny and Foxy or Jaguar. So like this card's a really good like it's like a pseudo starter, pseudo recovery card. This card's really good. Wolf is also really good. This is the main guy you link. You set on if a card is summoned to a zone he points to, he adds back a fire, and then if he's summoned using himself, you get to add back a Salad Spell Trap. So this is how you loop like Roar and Rage, or when you're going for game, you like search like you get Will. So like this card's also just really good. 2 Heatleo. This is like the spin. He targets cards in the spell and drop card zone and shuffles them back to the deck. So this card deals with Floodgates. It deals with like just random monsters. It has another effect where you summon it using itself. It targets a monster in your grave and your opponent's field, and makes the attack of the monster in the grave the monster in the field. So like let's say you have a monster, like let's say you have a kaiju, and I have a Phalanx in the grave. I can go affect target the kaiju, make the kaiju 500, copy Phalanx, or you make or if you have like a Veiler, you can make it 0. So like this card lets you go for like cool game shots. Like let's say if a monster can be destroyed in a battle, you can like make a monster 0, summon an access code that attacks twice, and then just kill them into it. It's really cool. Mirage Stalio, the card that got unbanned, I think July it got unbanned. It's actually really funny. This card sucks. Because
keeping it
when yeah, no, because like when this deck was good before, you didn't have like these lines as much. So anytime you want to go for these lines, but you had to go through this card first, you just kind of can't do those. So like this card is really good for turn 1. But aside from turn 1, you never really want to summon it. Turn like 2 and 3, it's very because like you can't kill them. If you activate this effect, you can't kill them pretty much. So but it's good. But it's good because it makes the deck a little bit more consistent. It lets you get to Gazelle more. It lets you get to the spinning Gazelle play more, and it lets you get to the traps more consistently too, because it lets you get into Gazelle more often. So like it has its value, especially because it can spin stuff too. So yeah, this card has value for sure. It's just like it's very like mediocre to me. I don't know, it's weird. And then the Cyberse cards, 1 Splash Mage summons a Cyberse in defense to a zone it points to. So like these are cards that you would typically see in like the Ad Against your deck. Like, because that deck is really like another good option. So this summons back Cyberse monsters, so it lets you like link climb into like transcode. Update Jammer lets anything get linked with attack twice. So you either make an OTK with this, or you make an OTK with access code. Then transcode summons back a link 3 or lower to a zone it points to. And so like in theory, if you don't use it for the access code OTK, you can like summon back a wolf and then relink the wolf, and it gets you back into your Salad engine. Ooh, that card went flying. Jesus Christ. Where'd it go? One under my desk. And then access code is just to kill them, because you make it attack twice with Update Jammer, and then that's it's typically either 86 or 1060. But like their life points are 0. They are dead. This is like in this deck, this is like the Boral Sword of the cave. Like Boral Sword meant you died in like other decks, but in this deck, this card means you die. Yeah, and then the 2 Abyss Dweller and Appaloosa. This is just because there's a cool play you have where you can just like turn 2s and 3s. You just make this, and then you do the Transcode Talker line to make Update Jammer, and then access code to kill them. So it's pretty much really safe if you didn't draw Crossout. And then Dweller is because when you draw nice ulti Dweller too. When you draw Debug by its own, it makes a rank 4. So like this card's really good into the format. It's really good into Tri Brigade. It's really good into Drytron. It's really good into Shadal. It's really good into Mirror. It's just like all in all, this card's really good. If playing against like a random Franken deck too, this card's really good. And then Appaloosa is just like Appaloosa. And yeah, that's it for the extra deck. And for the side deck, which a lot of it's theory. I need to test it more. I think it's the same side deck I played when I played this deck last, except I didn't side this card. I mained it, or I think I sided all three. Yeah, so we'll do for the side Triple Lancia. So this is because for Tri Brigade, obviously, but now that Nadir Servant is affordable, a lot of people are going to be playing the Invoke deck more. So this card's really good against that. And you can put in one to stop crossouts on you because you'll hand trap them, they'll chain crossout and you chain this. So it's something you can do as a counter side for crossout, but it's mainly just for like Tri Brigade and Shadal Invoke. Because that deck is very scary because wind is very hard for this deck to deal with sometimes. And I didn't play Droplet because I couldn't find space. The third this for like combo in the mirror. Like if you randomly play mirror, but against combo decks, you just kind of don't want to see this card. And then double Gamma Seal. This is because of the Agnister deck, which pretty much just makes like a towers that like can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, like it's unaffected. So you just kind of just go whoppa, and that's good.
I feel like Gamma Seal's old reliable.
Yeah, it's also good against Striker too, because like you just like they summon the Shizuku, set 3, you just go this, keep the O2 cards, access code, pop these 2, and they die. What else is there? It's good against any Dragoon deck because you just like slap it over Dragoon, or if it's good against Drytron, you slap it over Ultiminus and then play through the Dragoon. Yeah, all in all, this card's really good. I didn't play the Fire because this is easier to beat over. Because with the Fire, you have to go through Stalio. With Gamma Seal, like you can just like beat over with like Heat Leo, or you can just like Rage Pop it. Like there's like the Fire being able to add it back is cool, but it doesn't come up enough because you're usually just adding back like Ash or Gazelle. Like you're never that far ahead where you're like, oh, I'm gonna add back Gamma Seal or I'm gonna add back Dogoran. Like it's never. And then Pangratops, 3 Twin, Duster, Reboot. This deck can kill, so Reboot's good. These 4 deal with Schism, and they're really good into Trinkets. Well, this is not that good into Trinkets, but like these are really good into Trinkets because like you just go Standby Phase Twin, pop, or discard card, pop 2. It's also just a lot better against the trap decks because popping 2 cards is always better than banishing 1. No Storm because I couldn't find room for it. I just wanted more like of these cards, like more hand traps compared to like 3 more Lightning Storm. I think these cards, like this is like a pseudo Lightning Storm. This is a pseudo Lightning Storm because he kills them. And then Pank is just like, it's good against the border Eldritch deck because you just go special the Pank, attack over border. And then it's good against Shadals because like you special this. They usually summon Mechaba and attack, or in defense, sorry. So you go special this, attack over Mechaba, and then still in battle phase, pop Schism. Like this card does a lot. And then Reboot, they die. This is a good counter side for your opponent's Lightning Storms. If anyone channels Drift Gaming, like this is good against Pendulum. It also counters a Crossout Designator, which is nice. It hits Triple T. Like spells are really good. So like these just deal with all that. And then it doesn't force you to negate cards like Twin Twister with Roar because you just like have anti-spell order. So like they'll flip this. Or it's more so Lightning Storm too. Like you do this, they can't Lightning Storm you. Or if they Twin Twister you chain this and there's -2. And then it's good when you just generic side going first because a lot of decks just play spells too. Like a lot of decks are playing like pots and triple T's and crossouts of their own. It's like just a lot of good spells. And like this is auto win against the Shadal deck if they don't draw. If they don't play Maximus, which a lot of decks cut because Maximus is really bad in mirror matches and like Drytron. That is the October deck of the month. That is the one, the only, the Salamangreat.
It's kind of spooky. This deck doesn't die.
Yeah, it's like
revived. Got revived. I think is a better way.
Yeah, it's kind of like BA where it's just like what it does is so like simple and it's so streamlined. Like it's hard to like hit. Like they hit the consistency, but like there's other. The thing is, it's a Cybers deck. So it just has overlap with other Cybers cards. So like,
right.
If let's say mining didn't exist, then this deck would have a hard time. Or if debug didn't exist, this deck would have a hard time. Or like the update jammer, transcode, access code like line. Yeah, this deck is really fun. It's very rewarding to play well. But this is it's a budget option. Like there's a lot of good alternatives. I think the only change you make is these 3, but these 3 can just be like 3 more hand traps. It can be Pot of Desires, and then if you're playing Pot of Desires, or if you're not playing this, you don't play these cards. So, or you still play Buffalo, but you don't play these 3. So like, this becomes a 3rd Buffalo, and then these two become the second and third, or the second Rage and Roar. So like it's a nice alternative. And then if you don't have access code, oof. Like you can still, I think you can play a goddess, the underworld goddess, like that's a good alternative, or Crusader Abramax. But you can also just do the OTK with these two, where if I'm right, it's 28, 28, and 25. So right. That is 80, 100. Yeah, so they die with those. It's like this is technically another good option to have. Like you can still OTK with these guys. So the deck has some budget components, and then like you obviously don't need to play like the high rarity versions. Like all these come like I think like these come in common, these come like cheap. These all come in common except for this guy, this super gold rare. Like
so ulti dweller is not necessary, correct?
No, it is. No, it is not. But if you're me, it is. Like I could not play this deck without these.
It's not ultimate. That card doesn't exist. Essentially.
Yeah, no. I don't have any other dweller. Like I sold all of them.
That's funny. Well, you got that right.
Yeah, as long as I got this. But yeah, so this deck is a nice like option, especially if also you're returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! Too. Like this deck teaches fundamentals like card advantage. It grinds really well. It has a high skill ceiling too, so it kind of forces you to be good. Like you can't misplay a lot with this deck. Like if you misplay a lot, then you're just gonna kind of just like go X4 every locals. But if you don't misplay, you're fine. And with the new build with cross out, you play a lot more consistently. So that's also fun.
Spoken like a true professional. Just don't misplay.
Just don't misplay, man. That is like that's a phrase we just have a job where it's just like, yo, bro, just don't misplay. like one of my coworkers was playing a locals, went 2-2 and lost the last round because he misplayed, and then me and Jack just both looked at him and said, bro, just don't misplay. It's like it was, I forgot what the hell happened, but it was just really funny. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like this, I like this deck. This is one of my favorite decks. Yeah, no, this deck is super consistent. Like, it was crazy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to see in the future. Me and Sebastian can be open to doing a lot of like videos and stuff. I have some cool decks I want to try out. Me and Sebastian were talking about like this really cool pile. I think I put it away. I don't know where the hell, but it involves this guy. Because I found a random card. Ooh, okay. So if you guys want to see that from me, just let me know. Happy to give you guys a nice deck profile.
We gotta have the mirror match before I let you do a deck profile with Goki.
Oh, that's gonna be funny.
On YGO Pro, not remote duel, because I don't have the expensive
cards. that's fine. That means I have to download YGO Pro.
There you go. Or dueling book. But anyway, thanks so much, Rob, for coming onto the channel. Always a pleasure having you, bro. The amount of wisdom and knowledge. I feel like you're like a mathematician, but like in real life, or like a dark magician. Was that sage of magician?
Dark sage, some shit like that.
You're the sage.
Nah, bro, I'm stupid. Like if you see me play at locals, I just don't know what I'm doing. But I have cards, so it's
you're gonna kaiba this whole bitch.
yeah, exactly. That's how I do.
But thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead, check out Game Day
Toys and Games.
Game Day Toys and Games in New York if you live in the area. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comment section down below, and I will see y'all in the next one.
Bye, guys.